Hello, welcome to this edition of Market Watch brought to you by EnergyBin, the leading B2B exchange for solar equipment resale. I'm Melissa Schmid, the Marketing Communication Manager at EnergyBin, and I'm joined by my colleagues Rob Van Dimmeltrot and Thomas Hennessy, who are experts at connecting buyers and sellers of solar hardware. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks, Melissa. Glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Today, we're discussing PV module and inverter supply within the secondary market, and specifically activity we're observing on the EnergyBin exchange trading platform. This is a timely conversation to have in light of inflation, supply chain constraints, and increasing demand for solar that does not seem to be slowing down anytime soon. Rob and Thomas, you spend your days consulting solar companies to help them buy and sell solar equipment. What are you hearing from solar companies with respect to supply chain constraints and product shortages?
Wow, great question. And I'm going to jump in here, Thomas. We're hearing a lot about those issues. And you know, when people are coming to EnergyBin and coming to us, they're really coming to us because there's an absolute need, you know, and it's because something has been delayed if they're going to be a build. So either the manufacturer, the logistics delays, but the product's not getting to that customer. So they're scrambling to find, scrambling to save that project. They're scrambling to find that gear so they can put it on the ground. So I'm hearing quite a bit of that, and we're seeing quite a bit of that at EnergyBin. You kind of hearing the same thing, Thomas? Is that pretty much right on?
I am, Rob. I think with respect to supply chain issues, it seems like the ports aren't as congested as they were earlier this year. So I think we're seeing some improvement there, but at the same time, demand is still through the roof. And I don't think the demand aspect will change anytime soon. So I think a lot of the raw materials like polysilicon are still in short supply right now. So it's hard for manufacturers to keep up with the pent-up demand. And lately, I've spoken to a lot of companies that have placed orders with manufacturers, or they want to place an order with the manufacturer, but they're looking at delivery dates that are 6+ months out. So they need equipment on a quick turnaround. And I think EnergyBin is great in these types of situations. I think these supply issues and the product shortages that we see are going to persist until we reach some kind of equilibrium. But so there's still a lot of companies that are falling short of their projections. What do you think, Melissa?
I definitely agree. And although we are always striving for equilibrium, demand keeps growing. So even with announcements like the Inflation Reduction Act in the US market and subsequent manufacturers announcing gigawatt capacity facilities, hopefully coming online within 2023, 2024, there still will be a gap from supply versus demand. And then you have the European market, for example, that is overwhelmed with energy shortages right now and looking for alternatives to move away from fossil fuels to renewable energies. And those are just two markets in the world who are moving at very rapid paces to make this clean energy transition. So what about products? What's hot right now? What specific products are wholesale buyers looking for today, guys?
Thomas, I'll let you start with this one.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. That's a great question, Melissa. I think everything's hot right now, but inverters in particular are very hot. We're definitely seeing that a lot of our members are looking for various brands. We're seeing more Solar Edge, SMA, Enphase, and Fronius inverters on EnergyBin. And at the same time, we have a lot of companies looking to source these brands now. So if any of you out there have excess inverters, now is a great time to start sending your want to sell broadcasts. And we're happy to help with the legwork of posting your inventory as well on our platform. Of course, modules are always hot, new and used modules. And used modules are trending lately. I've received a lot of inquiries from companies looking to source used or secondhand modules. And a lot of these companies I talk to are looking for volume used. I think the overall percentage of used equipment on EnergyBin is starting to go up. So for all of you sellers out there, if you get wind of any decommissioning projects in the pipeline, let us know. We can help connect you to companies that are actively looking for secondhand equipment right now. Rob,
Okay,
what are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to roll it back for just a second because we talked about the markets, and I want to elaborate a little bit. I mean, this world is there. The demand for solar is only going to go up. I mean, obviously, Melissa touched base on Europe. I mean, there is a huge need for power over there. Obviously, with the Russian crisis, we have current hurricanes and damage or current hurricane damages in the Caribbean. We have rolling outages in California. I mean, there is such a huge demand, and that's not going to go away. Now, you touched base on use, and that's a really good, interesting subject because use is a huge opportunity. These panels, like I said, or have a 40, 50-year lifespan. And a lot of companies will, after 10, 20 years, they want to repower, and they'll just dispose of them. There's such an opportunity for the panels. There's such an opportunity for potentially used batteries, that, yeah, like Thomas said, contact us. We'll help connect you to the right partners who want them. So I do want to add on that. So, but let me stop for a second. I'll let Melissa chime in here.
Oh, definitely, because I think we've seen even on EnergyBin, use has always maybe represented 5 to 10% of our total millions of parts on EnergyBin. The rest is new with warranty, but that is growing. That percentage is growing, and we see panels sometimes as young as 6 months old, 1 year, 3 years old. It's very common in the residential sector, for example, for homeowners to upgrade their technology within 5 to 10 years. If you have that financial ability to do so, it's appealing to do so, or maybe you need a higher level of electrical generation because you're consuming more. Maybe you bought that EV, that electric vehicle, and now you need more power. So you upgrade your solar system. So then those panels that are 5, 10 years old, they don't need to go to a recycling facility. They can be resold in the secondary market. So let me ask you guys, what is trending in the used PV hardware market? Give us some more details on that.
Whoa. I think there's a lot of things that are trending here in the used market. Obviously, some of the highest demand are used panels. They tend to move the fastest. Again, there's a lot of applications for used panels that economically will work more effectively. Off-grid applications, like I said, ag applications. So I think there's a huge market. There's also a unique market for the operations and maintenance when it comes to used equipment. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of arrays on the ground. There's a lot of systems that are active, and they've been active for 10 years. However, there's always some certain problem that comes across. I mean, here up in the upper Midwest, we got blizzards, we've got tornadoes, we've got hail. In other parts of the country, you've got all kinds of other issues that they have to find replacement equipment. And if they can't find that replacement equipment, they're sometimes forced to upgrade that whole array. A good example is inverters, for example. If that inverter fails after 3, 4, 5 years, that manufacturer, if it's under warranty, is scrambling to find it. And he's challenged because that's trying to like, it's funny. It's like if you wanted to buy a brand new 2015 Ford, pickup truck, right? And it's 2022, you're definitely going to be challenged. So you're going to see a lot of operations and maintenance companies looking for those replacements. Now, they prefer new, but the used equipment will work for those applications as well. So many of those operations and maintenance companies, divisions utilize EnergyBin to solve that problem and that demand. Thomas, are you hearing and seeing the same thing?
I think you nailed it on the head, Rob. I think especially with inverters, a lot of these companies that started installing, 10 plus years ago, their inverters are reaching the end of their life, the end of their warranty period, and they need replacements, but they're not able to find replacements because, excuse me, the manufacturer is no longer in existence. So you can leverage EnergyBin to find those types of replacements. Of course, used modules are always hot, and right now, more so now than ever, I think we have several companies looking for used modules, anywhere from 150 watt to 350 watt. Melissa?
Great. And I would add on to opportunities in the used market to include those value-added services, appraisals.
Now,
Wouldn't you say third-party warranties as well would be big time services that we get quite a few requests from solar companies calling in, or even end users like homeowners, businesses who have solar and want to resell? I think a lot of them are interested in what are my used panels worth, which, okay, that's an appraiser. Um, there are many companies, like I'm thinking of our members, Solar Cycle and Ontility, who are not only invested in the recycling side of the business, but also in the remanufacturing, that is collecting panels that are being decommissioned and then sorting them into two piles, essentially resale versus recycling. And those that are deemed for resale get the full works in terms of repair and testing, and then they even add a warranty, a service warranty onto that to guarantee their work. And then they're packaged up for remarketing and resold to buyers all over the world. Do you want to add on to that, Rob?
oh, absolutely. If you think about what you just said, there are companies here that not will just repurpose this equipment, but they'll not just dust it off, but they actually do repair. I mean, they remanufacture and repair panels. They remanufacture and repair inverters that can be reused in this industry with again an extended lifespan. So it's not like just putting a used inverter in there. And we're seeing more and more of that. I've got lots of examples of people approaching us for things, and those opportunities are out there when it comes to that kind of segment. Thomas, do you hear something a little different, or am I right on track on that one?
No, I think as far as the value added services go, Melissa, you hit on testing, and I think testing is so important. The companies I see experiencing the most success selling used in particular are testing everything that they sell, and that way they can guarantee the power production at a certain level.
Excellent. Let's switch gears, guys, and talk more about the practical solutions that sellers can take today to make money in the secondary market. What tips do you have for these sellers when they list their inventory on EnergyBin?
Yeah, I can start off here, Rob. I think for companies that are selling on EnergyBin, I always try to keep my message consistent. If you're willing to do what we suggest by posting your inventory regularly and sending want to sell broadcast mass emails regularly, you will have success on EnergyBin, and you will meet new buyers on EnergyBin. And I really do think it's that simple. The companies that I see that are proactively selling this way are generally the most successful on EnergyBin. And just to share a recent success story, the Megawatt Group, who was just named as a top 10 renewable energy services company by Energy Tech Review magazine, they recently sold 500 modules to another member on EnergyBin. And I think the Megawatt Group does a good job of posting broadcasts and posting their inventory on a regular basis. And that's exactly what happened here. A buyer saw their post and reached out to them directly and placed an order. Rob, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's excellent point. Excellent point. I think the one adage that comes to me, and I have a sign on my desk, is only you can make it happen. And what I'm getting at here is what Thomas says. You have to put your foot out there, meaning, one of the things that we hear a lot is people look for things on EnergyBin and they don't find it. But what Thomas is saying and what we're encouraging is you have to let the platform know what you're looking for. I mean, you're going to be reaching hundreds and hundreds of different EnergyBin members, and all these guys have a different business model, but they have gear. I mean, a lot of times it's excess gear sitting in their warehouse in the yard that they're possibly looking to get rid of, and that's an opportunity to connect, because that could solve your problem. And you're speaking of success stories, and that's where we see these things as they tell us what their problem is, and we convince them to do something like that. A good example is maybe Meraki. Meraki is one of the largest residential installers who I met, I don't know, 2-3 months ago, came to us. He's got multiple crews all across the South and Mid-South that are residential installer that they're struggling with the supply chain. They're slow on getting their panels that they need, and he came to us. He's needing about 2 megawatts of panels to keep his business and all his commitments going a month. And he put out that broadcast, and then he found that success right away, and it helped him continue that business going. Another good success story is from a use perspective. Is well, two success stories. One is a company out of Canada, Apex, who has a client in South America that needs to use panels, economically challenged areas. And so what he did, and we convinced him, you have to do it. You have to put the broadcast out there so people can see that, and then what happened is he found him, or he found at least a container or two right away. And those are fun things for us to hear, because if you don't take that action, if you don't make it happen on your end, then nothing's going to happen on the other end. I mean, there's a lot of things people can control and we can't control. We can't control supply chain delays. We try to do our best, but what you can control is where you can find your solutions and problems, and that's where EnergyBin really helps. Now, you're talking about success stories. Probably the biggest success story, at least the largest success story I've ever seen, was a company out of California, Renvu, big EPC organization. One of their big clients decided they wanted to repower, and instead of, or not, I think they decided to recommission, meaning take out the old ones down, put new panels in, but somewhere they convinced them into repowering. And what I mean by that is taking those old panels, you're talking 51 megawatts of old panels that are pulling out of the ground, replace it with new equipment. Now, all these panels are about 10 years old or so. I mean, you're talking about 180,000 panels, which is a huge number. And by just putting that foot forward and putting it out there in that broadcast, I think what it'd take about a week, Thomas, maybe a little less than a week. Yeah, he had 3 offers on all of it. And he received more than he asked for. I mean, so instead of, if you think about the cost of disposal or cost of recycling, that's a hard cost. So it turning around from this hard cost that would have cost them a bunch of money, they turned around and made a significant amount of money, which not only offsets that recycle cost, but it for surely offsets the new buy on the buy end of the new panels. I mean, that's just such an awesome success story. I don't know where to start. So, does that does that make sense?
Definitely. Thanks, Rob. Those are 2 great success stories of how companies are uploading their inventory on EnergyBin and reaching out through want to sell broadcasts. I'm wondering for our viewers if we should show them what one of these want to sell broadcasts look like. Do you mind sharing that, Rob?
Sure, no problem. All right. So here's what our broadcast table looks like. When Thomas and I talk about put it out there, this organization put out a want to sell just today that he's looking to move 29 of these inverters. Here's another company from just late last week. He's looking for 20,000, looking to move 20,000 vSun 400s. As I look, here's Meraki. Remember that company I told you as an example? Well, he's looking to buy, and it looks like he's looking for 5,000. He's looking for another couple megawatts, if not more, panels for his next series of jobs. So this is what people are doing. And this is what we encourage you to do, because once you put this broadcast off, and this is what it looks like, this gets sent out to all those hundreds and hundreds of people to say, who can help me here? And then we're talking about expanding your supply chain options. We're not going to ever replace your current suppliers. We don't want to do that. We want to help you build new relationships. We want to help you solve some of the problems. So yes, we're connection experts, but we're also problem solvers too. And EnergyBin really gives you that opportunity, but you simply have to put out that broadcast so other people can see it. That makes sense?
That's a great visual aid, Rob. Thanks for showing that. And thanks for pointing out Meraki again. I just want to say that they are doing what we'd hope all solar companies would figure out is an opportunity for solar equipment brokering. So yes, Meraki is an installer, but they also order in bulk and sometimes have excess, or maybe a project gets downsized or canceled altogether, and they can take that excess material and resell it on EnergyBin. That's what they have been doing with inverters, but then now they're also finding ways to request quotes for equipment that they need for future jobs. And I think that's really powerful, that they can come here and get what they need right away. And then any distributor or supplier could also technically send out a want to buy broadcast and become a broker or a buying agent for their primary customers. And we've already had companies like CED Green Tech, for example, do that. Or I think I've even seen Baywa do that from time to time, because their primary vendors don't have what they need. It's backlogged, or maybe it's even discontinued, as Thomas was saying earlier. And this is a way that they can come and find what they need and make a customer happy and keep their customers going with their project timelines. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
I do. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Thomas.
I'll start first. Going back to the broadcast that you just showed, Rob, I just wanted to highlight that we have a newer member, One Solar. A lot of companies come to us curious if we see volume on EnergyBin, and here's a member that has over 20,000 new vSun 400 watt modules overstock for sale right now. So I think that's a great recent example of a company that's selling in volume.
Okay, let me show you.
20,000 modules listed at 56 cents per watt right here. So I think that's a great example of a recent broadcast that went out even during the week of SPI, which is always a busy week for the solar industry.
Yep, absolutely. So again, another opportunity. And it's so funny. And I apologize, I got lost, because as I switched from one screen to another, here we have 4 or 5 more broadcasts just within minutes of this presentation, of more people looking to move equipment in some inverters, panels. So it's really about putting it out there, that opportunity.
Thank you guys for talking a little bit about the solar equipment brokering. I think it's for us, we define that term as really the buying and selling of solar equipment. And all of you as wholesale companies, whether you're a wholesale buyer or a seller, you can be both. You can represent your buyers. All of you have customers, whether they're end users or companies. Rob, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I apologize for interrupting. That's an interesting point, because every one of those companies you saw using EnergyBin, and every one of you guys listening to this, have your own customers, right? And all those old customers are good relationships you build. And of course, nobody wants to lose their customers, right? So I think what I'm hearing from Melissa is EnergyBin gives you an opportunity to find and solve the problems for your customers, so they don't have to go other places. But also, by using EnergyBin and plugging into the system, by posting, want to buys and want to sells, you're actually technically expanding your downline, right? If you understand what I mean, because if you think about that residential installer, or you think about some of these others, One Solar, he has an existing customer base that you all of a sudden by working with them, you're expanding your sales channels as well, or your buys channels as well. So back to that opportunity, and I just want to think of it in a different way. And that just struck me that this is a great opportunity to not just move the equipment that's in your yard or solve that problem for your clients, but you're going to end up not just building a relationship in the long run with somebody, but you're going to end up doing a lot more business. And who knows, maybe a move into that brokerage side of the fence to help. So I just wanted to add that, Melissa.
Great. I think we're running out of time, guys, for today. I want to wrap it up by thanking you, Rob and Thomas, for your insights and keeping us up to date with secondary market trends. For our viewers,
thanks for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate you having it.
Great. Yes. For our viewers, if you'd like to chat one-on-one with Rob or Thomas about your solar hardware buy and sell needs, reach out to us at energybin.com. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more tips for buying and selling wholesale solar equipment. From the entire EnergyBin team, we wish you success in your work to advance solar energy. Thank you for all you do, and thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.